Hello there, friend. I would like to just kind of have a little talk and share my perspectives on the idea of going against the grain in society. So, pretty much, I kind of have always felt like I don't quite fit in. Um, I like, I guess what I'm trying to say here is it's kind of been like a lifelong struggle for me to, I don't know, I guess to fit in, but I think at this point, really, I don't care whether I fit in. And I think that's kind of the main idea here. Um, so it can be, so like looking back before I was more like secure in myself, sharing my opinions about things that I knew the majority of the people around me didn't agree with felt really scary and yucky. And so for a lot of my life, I would like sometimes like so I'm talking like teens and 20s, that kind of a thing. Even I guess even going back to childhood, when I would share a perspective or ask a question that was outside of the norm, that feeling of the people around you when they shut you down. I think I kind of developed, because I am a pretty sensitive person, so I kind of developed this habit of just kind of putting that away, for the sake of getting along with the people around me and being liked. When I had my first baby, I've always been the type of person, maybe, yeah, I think I always have been, but I started to nurture that more as I became an adult. The idea of looking into things for myself, especially with the advent of the internet. and I understand that you're sifting and sorting through a lot of different things, but I've always been the kind of person where I will listen to myself on these things. Whether I share that, I haven't always been very good about always sharing those perspectives, but always like listening to myself. I'm thinking, I don't think these people are right, but whatever. So when I had my first baby, I did my own reading. Prior to that, I didn't really have much of an opinion about vaccinations. I was like, I don't know. My mom had worked with a midwife when I was a little kid. She was doing pre-med classes and was thinking about becoming a midwife, so she apprenticed with a midwife. And this midwife had told her that she had seen a lot of babies, I think it was the MMR vaccine, having had injuries, vaccination injuries. So that kind of made her question. And so that left an impact on me. But really, truly, I was pretty open. I wasn't one side or the other by the time I was pregnant with my first baby when I started reading about it for myself, because that's the way I operate. I want to look into it for myself, and then I will make my own opinion. I don't want to base my opinion off of what other people are telling me. And so I was reading about it. I read about vaccinations. Oh my God. I don't know how many hours, because it's your baby. Like, it's a big deal. So I spent so many hours and hours reading both sides of the literature, going to the CDC and the government institutions and reading what they had to say. And then looking into the actual individual ingredients. This is the big one. I went to the list of ingredients of different vaccinations, and I looked up the different ingredients and the impact on the body that those different ingredients had. And then it started, you hear these other stories of these horrible injuries to children from these vaccinations. And there's a vaccine injury compensation program. There's a court where these companies can't be held liable if you can't sue them. They set aside a certain amount of money to dole out to people who've been injured by these vaccinations. So we know for a fact that they cause injury. So I was pretty naive at this point. And so like reading about it, I was like, wow, no, I don't think this is a good idea. I think if I, choose healthy lifestyle, good hygiene, I'm going to take my chances with that, with my kids over these vaccinations. And, sharing my opinions about that. Wow, the vitriol from different members of my husband's family, some of my family people, it was insane to me. My family was pretty good about it, I would say. Extended family. But that was just my perspective on it, and people were not going to change my opinion on it, certainly not by shouting about it or getting mean and nasty. But that was kind of my big experience of like, okay. So this is the risk involved with feeling like you're secure in a certain perspective on something, but the majority disagrees with you. You're going to be ostracized. You're going to be cast out. But it was important enough for me to where I was not going to change. I was not going to go and bow down and say, sure, okay, you're right, let's go do this. I had doctors be rude to me. It was unbelievable, the experience I had, the discrimination, rejection, ridicule, all of that, questioning my ability to parent. It's outrageous. But more and more, like, I started to see more and more and more after that, the way that there's like, would groupthink be the right word? I haven't looked up I've heard the word before. I haven't actually looked up the definition, but like the way that people will crowd together, like there will be these ideological boxes, and it's like, well, I agree with some of the things in that box, so I'm gonna have to just fit inside that box and just agree with everything. Let's go with it. Let's go with it. I don't operate that way, but I think a lot of people are operating that way. All the while, you guys, I respect other people's viewpoints. When we disagree, I respect you. You are a human being. You are another aspect of God. You have every right to your opinion, and every right to not be hated when your opinion is different than mine. We're in a really, God, you guys, I know you all feel it. It's a very strange time right now. It feels like a turning point as far as humanity. It really feels that way, doesn't it? Things feel really precarious, yet also, in some respects, loaded with beautiful potential. And when it comes to political opinions, things like that, I'm just, it's really interesting to me, because I do think that people, like being willing to go outside of the norm and think for yourself individually on stuff is really frightening for people. I think people, a lot of the time, they don't even know that that's what's going on. But I'm not, so the price of listening to yourself often is rejection, social rejection. I mean, in my circle, I don't have anyone who really sees, so like the way I see the world and the political situation right now. I don't really have anyone who agrees with me in that way, and that's okay. I can deal with that. I can live with that. I don't need people to agree with me. But it's just very interesting. What I'm trying to say is, whatever conclusion you as an individual come to on different topics, political topics, health topics, that sort of a thing, I respect that. But I want it to be your own, not influenced by anyone else, based off of looking into the actual facts of the situation, and not information that's been relayed. And when I see, this is the thing too, when I was in high school, so all the smart people listened to NPR. So I was like, well, I better listen to NPR if I want to be a smart person. But the thing is I started to notice a few things. One of the things that I had noticed was they repeat the way, like CNN and the mainstream news sources I used to watch and just notice, okay, we've got like 5 to 7 news stories at maybe in a 3-month period that we're just recycling and repeating, and it was just like, there's got to be more important things going on in the world than these 7 stories. This feels like manipulation. When I started listening to NPR, I started noticing that they were doing the same thing. And then I think it's gotten even worse since then. It's journalism was supposed to be neutral. You give a fair amount of attention to both sides, or hell, if there's more than 2 sides of the issue, you give a fair amount of attention to all of those different aspects of the conversation, and then you present the facts. What I'm hearing is opinion. It's just opinion. It's not journalism anymore. And so trusting that information to give me the facts is not something that I feel is happening. So really taking off, getting the emotion out of it. Because I think that we get triggered and we'll say, oh my God, ugh! Get the emotion out of it and look at it from all different angles and then come to your conclusion on different topics. I want people to do that and then come to your own conclusion, and whatever that conclusion is, I fully respect it. But the price of following your truth in this world often is social rejection. But don't let that stop you from being authentic. And I think that kind of sums up what I wanted to say here, and all the while keeping the respect for each other. I hope you have an awesome day. Bye for now.